Welcome to Stonewatch, and this is my open spoiler discussion for Falcon and Winter Soldier Episode 3, Power Broker. And if you haven't already, please smash that subscribe button and click on that bell so you can be notified for future videos. And be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And yes, I just got done watching Falcon and Winter Soldier Episode 3, Power Broker, and this is just awesome. I mean, they're just knocking this series out of the park every single week. It just gets better and better all the time. Now, I think Kari Skogland is just doing a fine job on this series. I mean, just a fine job. Now, this week's writer, Derek Kolstad. Now, according to Wikipedia, he's also writing next week's episode also, which is pretty cool because we got more of like a political thriller in this week's episode. And I mean, there was kind of like an action piece, just like the previous two episodes, like that scene that's in the fight within the shipping containers was pretty epic. I mean, it wasn't as much as far as like, Falcon flying around in the first episode or the truck scene that we got in last episode. But nonetheless, I mean, it was big explosions and there was a lot of action going on. Now, in this week's episode, we get a runtime of 54 minutes. The longest one we've gotten so far. They pretty much maxed it out because it was saying in the press release that these episodes are going to be anywhere from 45 to 55 minutes. And this one was pretty much maxed out. You still got to minus out the 7 minutes for the end credits, and you still got to minus out like a minute and a half or so for the previous beforehand from the last week. So it at least was with a little bit less, but still a little bit longer than we've gotten so far, and maybe it'll continue on with next week's episode. Also, we got a few new characters for this series this week. Now, the first one is actually not new. We knew he was coming all along, and he was actually kind of teased or set up at the end of last week's episode. As Daniel Bruhl comes as Helmut Zemo. Now, he's a Sokovian terrorist who was responsible for the Avengers breakup in Captain America Civil War. The series introduces Zemo's traditional purple mask from the comics, which Bruhl was enthusiastic about wearing. He said he felt like a baron wearing the updated costume, which points towards the aristocratic Baron Zemo version of the character from the comics. Bruhl was thrilled to return to the role and said the series felt both known and fresh to him compared to Civil War. Skogland was excited to explore Zemo's complexity following the dark place that Civil War left him in, with the series showing that he has lost everything and he's paying for his crimes. Spellman said that the series would explore Zemo's origin story and show how the character views himself as a hero. And let's not forget, we get to see Zemo do a version of the bad white boy. Next up, we have Imelda Corcoran. Now, all I could find on her that she was one of the crime lords that was in the lower levels of Metapor. Now, I say was because after we get a name from her on who's making the super soldier serum and Sam's phone goes off and blows his cover, she is shot. Now, I don't know where the shot came from. It came through one of the windows, so I don't know exactly who actually took her out, but as soon as that was all going down, she's gone. So unfortunately, it was kind of cool to see this character, but she didn't last long enough to actually get to know. Next up, we have Ali Hasskivy. Now, he's playing the character Dr. Wilfred Nagel, a scientist that was recruited by Hydra to work on the Winter Soldier program. Now, after Hydra fell, he was then recruited by the CIA. Now, they already had a blood sample from a test subject, Isaiah Bradley, and he was successfully able to find and isolate the necessary compounds to recreate the super soldier serum. But his was a little bit different than the original. His was going to be more subdued, where it wasn't so obvious. It didn't have to have the bulky equipment. The subjects were not all jacked up to where you actually knew. It's more like if you didn't know, you wouldn't know until it was already too late. Now, before he was actually able to complete his work, he was one of the many that fell victim to the snap at the end of Infinity War. And he was also one of the many that actually came back when Hulk redid the snap and brought everybody back in Endgame. Now, it was 5 years later, so he had to go find some, the project was pretty much ended, and he ended up going to Metropor, where the power broker set him up and funded his research, and he was able to complete his work. Now, according to the doctor, he was actually able to make like 20 vials altogether. Now, he also said that his all 20 vials were stolen by Kari Mergenthal and her splinter cell of the Flag Smasher. So I think there was like 8 of them in last week's episode. So does that mean that there's 12 vials left? Kind of makes you wonder. Now, during this interrogation led by Bucky, Falcon, and Zemo, there's a big huge fight going on in the shipping container yard outside. So when Sharon comes running in and said they have run out of time, Zemo takes his opportunity. He takes the doctor out. So there won't be no more super soldier serum coming from Dr. Nagel. Which brings us to our next new character. Actually, she's not totally new. She's just like the Zemo character. We knew she was coming all along. Emily Van Camp comes in as Sharon Carter. Now, she's a former SHIELD and CIA agent and also our very own Peggy Carter's niece. Now, the last time we saw her was in Civil War when she was on the run after helping Captain America and Falcon steal the SHIELD and his wings. Now, in this series, we're going to explore more of her backstory. We're going to find out what she's been up to since she's been on the run this whole entire time. Now, Bandcamp said in the interview that she was looking forward to exploring the dark side of her character. So we'll have to wait and see how that all plays out. I mean, she'll be probably back in the next 3 episodes, but it was kind of cool to see her come in, and she was quite the badass in that fight scene in the shipping container scene. And finally, we have Florence Kasemba. Now, she's playing the character Ayo. Now, she's a member of the Dora Milaje, a Wakandan warrior. Now, she first appeared in Captain America's Civil War, then in Black Panther, then in Avengers Infinity War. And now she's back, and she's looking for Zemo. I don't know about you, man, but this commercial that they played at the beginning of Falcon Winter Soldier Episode 3 for the GRCs is kind of creepy. Maybe it's just me. Let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. I thought it was pretty wild how Bucky orchestrated that prison riot so Zemo could actually escape, but my only question is, how did he slip the security badge thing inside that book so Zemo could actually use that to get through the stores? I mean, that was pretty big. How can you not see that on camera when someone does that? I'm not really sure how they pull that off. And when they were talking to that criminal lord, that Selby chick, and like she gets shot, that shot came from outside of that room. So who fired that shot? Right? I mean, because like, was there somebody listening? Was that Sharon Carter who fired that shot? I mean, who fired the shot? So I don't know. Let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. I mean, this episode was awesome. It gave us like that political thriller that we got from Captain and Winter Soldier, so that was kind of cool to get that feel again. Now, seeing how we're getting the same writer for this episode and next episode, maybe that's going to continue on into that episode. Now, again, we only have 3 more episodes left, and this series is over. Now, so far, out of the 2 series that we got from the MCU, this seems to be the only one that would make sense that they actually could do a second season. Maybe, but we don't know what's going to happen in the next 3 episodes. So we can watch next week's episode and go, oh, no, guess we can't go any further with this story. So we can see how this is all going to play out. But I love this show. I mean, I did like WandaVision, but I kind of like this one a little bit more. This one was a lot more serious, not as funny as WandaVision was. I mean, WandaVision was a fun show to watch and kind of pick out all the things that was going on. But this show is just totally badass. It's kind of like watching another Captain America movie without Captain America. Oh, speaking of which, it comes to find out that Bucky was right. Our new Captain America, John Walker, does not have any leads. It seems throughout this episode that him and Battlestar are always a few steps behind him and Falcon. And now they seem like they're going to actually start tracking them a lot more often. And I can't really quite figure out whether or not if they're actually looking for their Kari Skogland chick because they want to find a super soldier serum that she has, or they're just trying to stop her because she has taken the super soldier serum. So I have to wait and see how that all plays out. So I don't know. Have you watched Falcon and Winter Soldier Episode 3? Let me know in the comments down below. Who do you think the power broker is? Let me know in the comments down below, because like we heard about this guy or person, but we don't know what they look like, and maybe we'll find that out next week. So I don't know, man. Let me know what you think in the comments down below.